हमको मन की शक्ति देना, मन विजय करे, दूसरों की जय से पहले खुद को जय करे। हमको मन की शक्ति देना, भेद भाव अपने दिल से साफ कर सके, दोस्तों से भूल हो तो माफ कर सके, झूठ से बचे रहे, सच कदम भरे, दूसरों की जय से पहले खुद को जय करे। हमको मन की शक्ति देना, मुश्किलें पड़े तो हम पे इतना कर्म कर, साथ दे जो धर्म का चलेंगे धर्म पर, खुद पे हौसला रहे, बदी से ना डरे, दूसरों की जय से पहले खुद को जय करे। हमको मन की शक्ति देना, मन विजय करे, दूसरों की जय से पहले खुद को जय करे। हमको मन की शक्ति देना।
Yes. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Sujata.
Thank you.
So this brings us to the most awaited events which we were thinking for last couple of years, that how to bring in the rich experience of alumni who has now almost, few of you may have had a 14 or 15 years of clinical practice experience as well as teaching experiences. So bring them back to the campus and let the next generation gets a benefit of all your experience and learning which you had in your own space. And thanks to lockdown, that this new avenue has opened up, because there were issues of logistic in a face-to-face or bringing you to the Palghar and bringing everybody to Palghar auditorium was a logistic difficulties which we were facing. But with this Zoom conference coming in, so it is now possible to reach to each alumni who may be in India or out of India, or in the remotest part of India, to bring with their rich experience and share with teachers who will feel proud that now the next generation has taken up and things are in a right hand to propagate homeopathy in a different areas and different field, and each one of us can grow, and also to the next generation that what is it possible after doing hard work to reach where, and how you garner and you get the experience to grow in life. So this platform will give us a multifactorial or multiple advantages. One is it will allow alumni to get connected to its own mother institute. Also, it will get connected to their teachers who are now your colleagues and seniors. So, it will be a good platform to interact with them on an active basis. Also, it will encourage the next generation to look forward to some role models who are working in a different field and different areas. And also, this should be a good platform where you can translate this rich experience into a good article which Dr. Nikunj has already shared, and which can be published in a JISH. so that the world over whoever is reading JISH also can get benefit or get enrich experience of all of your hard work. So I will not take much time, and I will hand over the proceeding to the first session and to the first Keyur, Yogesh is the first, right?
Yes, yes. Yogesh sir will
Yeah.
be starting the session. So I will request Bhavik
Yes,
sir.
Bhavik sir too, yes. Yeah. So thank you all for joining and making this is a success, and hope to continue this for a times to come, not only the month. We may have a continuous program if the response continues, and we all get benefit out of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Good morning to everyone. It's a great pleasure to introduce Dr. Yogesh Niturkar. He was popularly known amongst the colleagues as Sarkar. So we actually were the first lot of homeopaths to graduate from the institute. And since then, Dr. Yogesh has come a very long way towards his contribution towards the homeopathic science. He is the assistant professor, Department of Organon, VK HMC, Latur, since 13 years. He has a clinical experience of 16 years, and he is an author of not 1, 2, 10, 20, but 89 national and international peer-reviewed articles. And he has also reviewed 8 books, and he's on the editorial team of NJH and also a representative of Vital Informer. What is more important is the topic that he has selected for us today is very, very relevant in the current times of COVID. Incorporating Hahnemannian principles in the practice of telehomeopathy, a way to the future. So without wasting any time, I will hand over to Yogesh to begin his presentation on this.
So Yogesh sir's screen now.
Thank you, Bhavik. Thank you, Bhavik, my close friend and guide. He has introduced me, and I am highly overwhelmed by the gesture shown by him. And I am also highly privileged to be a part of Dr. Emil Dhawade group of organizations, ICR month, alumni month celebrations, and the topic that I had selected, I was more concerned to showcase about in what way we can show what we are doing in our day-to-day practice. So Kumar sir said that this will be the act topic and you should go with this topic. After finalizing the topic, we had selected that we should consider this theme of incorporating Hahnemannian principles in the practice of telehomeopathy a way into the future. So the presentation is dedicated to 3 gems of homeopathy because of whom I am in front of you. So the 3 masters, I am very short to convey what I feel about them and about their contribution. The slide is not moving somehow. So the presentation that we are having is categorized into the following subheadings of objectives. We are going to say cases. There will be a take-home message, then a conclusive learning, a master table and annexure. That is what we are going to learn today. I have kept only a single objective of learning how a registered homeopathic practitioner utilizes telemedicine application by incorporating Hahnemannian principles and discovers its scope in homeopathic management of varied diseases in epidemic and pandemic situations. The objective that I have made is just an illustration of what guidelines Ayush government has drafted. And as we are aware that Kumar sir had also was involved in making guidelines on telehomeopathy or telemedicine. So I was attracted towards the draft and I decided that I should not go into writing so many objectives, and I have just kept only one objective because it is already an illustration of what guidelines have been given there. You can refer the guidelines. So let's see how knowledge of processes, what we have been taught at our institute, so what way it influences analysis and therapeutics. So we are going to see the processes that will influence our analysis and therapeutic system. So we will start with the case number 1. This is a 40 years old businessman from a Marwadi community. He is under homeopathic treatment for his chronic allergic rhinitis, and I have prescribed him Calcarea carb as a constitutional remedy. So he called up and implied as below. The interview was opened, or the opening of the interview was like this. Hello doctor, one new case has been found in my next colony. And I would just give a background information. In the same colony, few days before the patient had approached me, there was one death of one person from the same community. So with that background, he called up that one more new case has been there in my next colony. So the body of the interview, having relevance from the points from the history, this was the presentation. That he had a fear of contracting COVID-19 disease. He had anxiety about his 6 months old son. He was worried about what will happen if the family contracts the disease. And he said that I am feeling anxiety in and around, घाबरल्यासारखं होतंय, in and around chest. He also complained of 2 to 3 loose motions in small quantities with generalized weakness and exhausted feeling. So these were the relevant points from the history, what he had presented, and the interview plan. Now, before I proceed towards the interview plan, I would just recall one incident during our alumni meet in March. During our HMM meet, one of the students had asked a question, sir, whether all of the alumni who are practicing right now, they follow PDPR IP, or they do all the standardized forms, whether they are using it or not. So Bipin sir replied that once you are used to it, it is in your mind. Not necessarily that you have to pen it down every time, you have to fill up the form every time. It is so habitual that you go on forming PDPR IP or whatever structure, form, function, or RREF, whatever tools you are using, you do it because it becomes your habit. So that time, personally felt that I should incorporate these headings. So coming back to the case, the interview plan that I had formed was based upon aphorism number 86, to ask precise and specific question once the narrator has finished his narration. So I asked only one question: have you taken Arsal? Because when he had narrated the symptoms, I was somewhere around fixing myself that this is the Arsal totality. He may need Arsal, but something came to my mind and I just inquired whether you have taken Arsal. And fortunately, the response was like this: yes, doctor, I have taken it. Our Maheshwari community had distributed it. Due to the panicky situation. So the question that might be raised here, why the physician might have asked this specific question. The question was raised because we had seen that there was a free distribution of ourselves, over the counter availability, then the unnecessary repetitions due to anxiety and the panicky situation. So because of that, the question was raised, or the specific question was asked to this patient. Now, what kind of thinking process we had when we were inquiring or when we are dealing with the whole case? Anamnesis, that is to see restudy of the whole scenario. So in what way it helped me? So chief complaints, COVID-19 questionnaire, or the questions that we need to ask for that, and the pre-post ourselves questionnaire that I felt that we should ask pre and post ourselves related question, and the integrated questionnaire that we have to formulate so that we can justify our actions. So a quick assessment was done in terms of problem definition for patient evaluation. We are having a causation where there is a history of ourself 30 consumption, and on day 4 signs were suggestive of proving, and we were able to see that he is susceptible to contract disease out of the perception that he had. So the evolution that we are able to find out in this case, the pathology that has been created was of functional nature with sudden onset and SORA in the background. And the expressions that were seen were of fear of impending disease, that was the emotion. Anxiety was also seen, diarrhea, and weakness, which was secondary to diarrhea. So we are clearly able to see a psychosomatic correlation over here in terms of the expression because of the cause, that was the ARSAB consumption. Now, as a physician, what one should do? Drug proving of ARSAB was there. Acute state of apprehension has been produced because of the medicine, and the second prescription that I thought was of antidote. Now, how to reach this antidote? So for confirmation, as we have been taught to become unprejudiced, we still wrestle between prejudiced and unprejudiced. So because as the communication was on phone and the person was about to collect medicine, so I had ample time. So I just confirmed symptoms from repertory, and the totality was fixedly coming up of ARSAB, calcarea, phosphorus, carcinosin. As the person is having calcarea as a constitution and ARSAB consumption was there, so I felt that now it is a high time, and considering his disposition, I felt that we would go for antidote. So again, we have to integrate various knowledges. Don't just go only upon the Hahnemannian principles. Hahnemannian principles means it is integration of all. So it is HMM, I am HMM alumni, so I am presenting HMM, I am presenting repertory, organon, and the allied subjects also. So the remedy relationship part, we can understand that ourselves, all of us are aware that is followed well by Nux vomica. It follows well calcarea and Nux vomica, similar to calcarea, Nux vomica, and antidoted by camphor and Nux vomica. As camphor was in the discussion in various groups, so the camphor was the thing that I was searching for in the totality. It may be my bias, it may be my influence of outward sources. So I selected in terms of antidote. My mind was diverting towards Nux vomica, but camphor was there, so I was more concerned about camphor too. But on close comparison, I found that the first rubric, fear, phobias, disease of impending, is covered only by Nux vomica, and it is not in camphor. So it acted as a PDF for me, and I went ahead in terms of patient management with prescription of, or the prescribing medicine was of Nux vomica 200 single dose. So this was the conclusion. Now what after this? Follow-up consult, remedy response evaluation. So the follow-up consult was that he restored to health. the person who had visited me to collect medicine, I had advised him that you just go and tell him that he should call me within 1 hour after consumption of medicine. And he said, okay. And after 1 hour or 1.5 hours approximately, he called up and he said that I am little bit better. So I said, okay, no problem. On next day, he was absolutely normal. There was restoration of health, sense of well-being was there, and there was no weakness. So I continued the SL that I had given. So what we have demonstrated in this case is history through telehomeopathy, formulation of PDPR IP as a routine practice, the manner in which interview has been conducted through opening body and conclusion, and the tool that we had used, the final tool of follow-up consult in terms of a remedy response evaluation form. So this is possible with our tools. Let us come to the second case.
Hello, Dr. Yogesh. I'm sorry to interrupt. You may need to be a little faster because you have a lot of things to cover, and we have only around 15-20 minutes remaining.
Okay. So this is another case of 40 years old female. She had complaints of cough from throat pit, aggravation by day and night, non-productive type of cough, dryness of throat with mild increase in thirst, and she had consumed anti-allergic and antitussive medicines from her dentist husband, but it was still partially ameliorated. The relevant points, I am not going to repeat the headings now. I will just go ahead with the main thing. Husband is a dentist. Since last week, he is attending his patients, and because of that, husband's risk of exposure to COVID-19 and its fatal outcome if he contract disease. So this was the thinking process. What will happen to her and her children? Insisting her husband to avoid going to clinic, but he is not listening. Also feels if husband will not work, then how daily needs will be fulfilled. So she was anxious. The conflict that she had was expectation from husband not to attend his clinic. Type of conflict was approach avoidance conflict, fulfilling daily needs and don't want husband to attend clinic. Emotions, anxiety, fear, impending disease. Effects were psychosomatic, and the disease diagnosis, which was a provisional one, psychogenic cough. Now this was incorporated after learning from Dr. Rajesh Yadav, Department of Psychiatry, MLD MHI, with our recent encounter in one of the lecture. So repertorization was done. Phosphorus, arsenic were the coming up remedies, and as per the totality, phosphorus 1 mg was given and the patient restored to health. So this was the result. Now the main thing in this case was that she supported husband for his medical services in such kind of pandemic. So this was the follow-up, and the important thing in this follow-up was that she supported for the medical services. So this is possible with homeopathy. Now what is the working model that we had done in this case, or in the first case or the upcoming cases? Observations is the basic of our learning, and the facts that are available in the Materia Medica, experience of standardized homeopathic practice, and the correlations that we derive with clinicopathologic and psychopathologic concepts. So it is a part of our continuous learning for the extension of knowledge levels in terms of tri-coordinate care. It is given in Symposium Volume 1 Atlas. Now the caselet number 3. Patient called up, means patient's father called up, SMS'd me, texted me on WhatsApp at 1:42 AM, and as it was a WhatsApp message, I had not seen. So within 3 minutes he called up. It was an emergency case. Mother observed sudden feeling of penis and dribbling of urine of her 2-year-old child. Patient was shown to pediatrician, but the complaints were as it is, as the patient has regurgitated all medicines. So it is a telephonic transactional record, translation of Marathi communication. So again, one more concept I am trying to showcase. Swelling of penis and not able to pass urine. So the opening was in terms of, sorry doctor, I am troubling you at odd time. And he started with the complaints. I asked him whether he is having fever. So the reply was no, yes, and it was of moderate degree. I asked whether he is cranky. Patient father said that he is comfortable, and the concept that we can see that there whether there is any fullness of abdomen. So he said no after observing his son. So I asked him to come after half an hour at my home because during lockdown I had carried most of the files of the patient, those who are regular with me, and the medicines with me. So because of that, it was possible. So he came, edema of the penile shaft, the miasmatic understanding was of psychosis, and I had advised that we will go for a USG and a surgical opinion if it is needed. So I considered that the susceptibility at mind and body level was low, but at pathology it was moderate. So totality was built up. The patient management was done with the first remedy that came up, Merxol, and he restored to health. At around 3 a.m., the medicine was given. Within 45 minutes, he passed urine with some mucus, then he slept. So follow-up was taken, means the father had called me at 8 a.m. and I said that to continue medicine as it is. Evening follow-up consult was like this. You can see the drastic change. Swelling was gone. He was able to pass urine. There was no odor. Urine color was still yellow. That was acceptable. Fever was absent, and I said to continue the medicine for one more day. As the phone call was at 1:42 a.m., so my wife also followed up this case, and she used to inquire what happened to that child. So she was keen in terms of understanding. So that was a personal challenge for me, and I was more conscious about receiving follow-up of this case. Let's proceed to the cluster of cases that I am going to present now. A pediatrician and his gynecologist wife practicing 65 kilometers from Latur, having the case number 4, that is the pediatrician having diabetes type 2. Then the gynecologist, she is a known case of bronchial asthma. She is my patient. Son is also patient. He is ADHD, and they presented a telecommunication initiated by case number 5 on 14th of July. We are having lockdown since 15th July. So on 14th July, he called up and he said that we had come in contact with COVID positive case and our hospital is in containment zone. That's why I'm worried. And we have taken ourselves. I asked whether you have taken ourselves from reliable source. He said yes, from a J doctor, senior practitioner, and his son is my patient, so I rely upon him. So I just went on to elaborate complaints. So he said that I am having body ache, wife is having throat pain with dryness, and my elder son had played in rain and he is having fever, and the youngest one is healthy. So I said, don't worry, I will text you name of the medicines, you can take it from the Dr. J. He said, no, I will send my driver, and he sent driver at late night and he collected medicine from me. The prescription that I had given, Bryonia, Merxol, Rustox and Camphor 1M, and the case number 4, 5, 6 were followed by a Camphor with the understanding of that they are having a history of exposure. So I prescribed them Camphor. Already they had taken Arsal. So now I felt that it is high time I should go for Camphor 1M at night time, single dose. And already the child who is having no complaints, who was not having any complaints, I had given him Camphor 1M. From 14 July till date, all are fit and fine. There is no complaint at all. This is another cluster of cases, 8, 9, 10. 8, he is working in Ayush department, NRHM. So he is a known case of again diabetes. Mother is also diabetic with osteoarthritis, and the 10th case, that is the father of this patient, is having asthma and lumbar spondylosis. Telecommunication was initiated by case number 8. I was sitting in the car on the back side, and at that time the phone call came, and I just, as I was in a relaxed mood, so patient greeted normally as usual, and I also responded as of a casual conversation. So after few minutes of conversation, he narrated that on 12th July, I had a single episode of high grade fever. So gave swab, which turned positive now. So I was little bit shocked. So the next thing came to my mind was about the family members. So I asked, what about your family members? He said, I had given ARSAB to all family members. Their swab will be collected tomorrow. So I asked whether you are having any complaints. He said, no, sir. I am fine. Only mild body ache is there. So the interpretation that I made and I communicated it to him, from your voice tone and the comfort felt, you seem to be psychologically healthy. And he laughed. I said, take Brionia 200 QDS, report frequently and communicate freely. So I was in constant touch with him and his family on daily basis. I used to become conscious that I have not received a phone call from him. So I used to call him back and I used to assure whether everything is fine or not. So case number 9 and 10, parents of case number 8. So I communicated on my own and gave psychological support and health education. And fortunately, their swabs were negative. The prescription that I had given to case number 8 was Brionia 200 days. And fortunately, he was relieved from the quarantine center within 5 days as he was asymptomatic. He had full sense of well-being and still he is normal. I repeated with the constitutional medicine. And the case number 9 and 10, family psychotherapy and health education, that these are the only 2 things that I had given. As they were staying 40 kilometers from this place, Nilanga, so I just assured them with family psychotherapy and the health education. So this was the thing. So what is the integrated take-home message? Physician's aim and first consultation is diagnosis, understanding the nature of the patient's perception of the problem. So what are the requirements for the physician so that he can fulfill the aim at first consultation? So we need to understand that these are the things: HMM, organ and repertory, a tricoordinate or the trinity of homeopathy, establishing clinical features by history taking, knowledge of disease, knowledge of pattern of disease presentation, and the ability to interpret patient's clinical database in terms of symptoms and signs, disorder functions, and potential to causative pathologies, whether physical, mental, and social, or a combination of these. Apart from the homeopathic trinity part, rest of the slide is incorporated from the learning that I have received from the Hutchinson's clinical methods. So we need to understand all these concepts. Now what conclusive learning we can derive? I have not derived any conclusive learning. I would like to just present you this slide, which is from my beloved teacher NL Tiwari sir and the editorial team, 3 of them. Journey to Unprejudiced Observation, Principles and Practice, and this book was gifted to me by my dear friend Dr. Dharam ICRite. And the conclusion that I have read in this book in the chapter number 10, just read, I will read it. The journey of becoming an unprejudiced observer is thrilling. I felt it thrilling. It helps the physician to stabilize himself, to achieve a maturity, a balance, and poise difficult to achieve otherwise, and to help patients at an altogether different level. Homeopathic practice has 4 main components. One is case taking or receiving, then the case analysis, case recording, case evaluation, establishing the similarity between the portrait of disease and portrait of the remedy. Prejudice affects us all in all these areas. Case taking is the primary basic component and prejudice affects this area the most. So I felt that these are the apt slides for my presentation, because whatever I have done, it is already written by my teachers. So next part that I would like to mention, the method used is to analyze our own experiences as an evaluator. That is to say, analysis and evaluation of oneself to know oneself, that is heal thyself. And this is, or that is the demand made by our master Dr. Hahnemann for homeopathic practice. The unity between theory and practice leads to the trinity of patient care, learner care and knowledge care, helping us to evolve to be the unprejudiced observer. The patients and learners are our teachers. Whatever patients and learners means the case taking part, recently I had revised the whole thing and I learned while teaching to the students online. Whatever psychology or psychiatric knowledge I have incorporated, it is also through the online. So our patients, our learners are our teachers. If we are sensitive to their feedback, learning is maximum in the traditional Guru Shishya Parampara, in the continued medical education. I am highly indebted with the conclusive learning that I have derived after reading this chapter and revising it one more time. So this is the conclusive learning from the presentation. And now the main focus will be on the telecommunication applications that we had in these cases. And I will focus only on the third thing because it has a different part, that is text-based and visual, photo, audio. Teleconsultation process was initiated by patient in few cases, and in the 9th and in up to 8 cases, and 9th and 10th was initiated by the registered homeopathic practice. The type of consent was implied till 8 cases, and then the 9th and 10th was explicit. The type of consultation was first and follow-up consult. Timing of info transmitted, apart from case number 3 and 8, it were of emergency nature. 4 to 7 and 9 to 10, it can turn from non-emergency to emergency. Comorbidities were there, and the prescribing medicine, everything has been written in this slide. So this is what we had done. The flow chart for first consult, you can refer it in the guidelines given on telemedicine. It is available on net, or you can just search for the WhatsApp chat. If you are from the ICR alumni or ICR family, Kumar sir had shared it. And now the next thing I would like to request, if after seeing all these slides, if you are having still questions that is it possible, and whether whatever I have achieved or whatever little bit of speed was there in terms of explaining the facts or just presenting the facts, just visit to, or you have to refer to this YouTube link. You can take a screenshot of this, and please, it is a request that you should follow with Fridays with Dhawles, so that your presentation skills, your knowledge based capital will grow. So it was possible because of the qualities that I am practicing, and most of us are practicing, the qualities of a homeopath. Yesterday night also I have listened this, and I was convinced with my presentation that whatever 29 slides are there, or whatever 31 slides I have made, it was only because of the principles that have been internalized by all of us. If you have any questions, queries, please feel free to communicate. You can take a screenshot of this and you can call me, or you can WhatsApp me, or you can mail me. I will be privileged to answer your queries. So this is the acknowledgement team, the training and education, and the vision that was built within me because of the trust, because of the institute, my family, my learners, sick individuals, and my colleges, because of whom I am here. I think I have covered a vast topic in a short duration of time.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yogesh, for a very good presentation. We'll take up a few questions that are there from the participants. So the first question is that any posological considerations when antidoting a medicine? Like in the first case, we have used antidote. Yeah. So what are these, any specific reference to selection of potency? in those type of cases?
What I did, I considering the nature of complaints and the relationship that the patient was having. So if you go back and try to understand the susceptibility of the patient, I had mentioned it as moderate. So on that basis, I had given a moderate, because on the fourth day it might be a means we might have given a 1M potency also. But while listening to his complaints, the manner in which he was narrating the complaints, I felt that I should go for a moderate potency, and that is why I considered a moderate potency will be suitable to fill up his vacuum of susceptibility.
Yes, so the bases were the same as we consider
Yeah,
in
yeah,
any other case.
yeah.
Right?
That is what I had done. Any new learning will be a welcome.
Yeah. Yeah. So another question is about the Moxol case, especially the difficulty or your thinking process in prescribing at that hour. At that hour of 3 a.m., how did you? Because no, there is no access to repertory or no. How did you go about it? So that is a inquisitive question.
Definitely. Again, I would like to mention that Kumar sir can agree, because already we had a discussion on that related to the moment first lockdown was there. I had carried all my books at my home. I have turned my one room into little bit of clinic and little bit of a homely environment. So at that time, I was not sure of prescribing any medicine. So what I did, whatever I had listened, I had just went on opening a homeopathic software. I repertorized it. Merck Salt came up, and I blindly gave Merck Salt because it was the first remedy. It came top priority, and I just waited that whether if it works, it is a miracle. If it is not working, he will call up again. I will respond, and that was the whole thing. Even I have not referred Matremedic also at that time. It is a humble submission that I just opened up laptop, and my family is aware about that. Even recent 2-3 mails were also at late night. So it is because the learning that we had done, and it is continuous process what we had done in our post graduation days. And Bhavik sir would agree that we were a team of less residents who had managed the hospital, and that habit has been still continued. So that was the thing at midnight. So I had repertorized. Please mind it, I had repertorized it.
Yes. Well, another question pertinent to this online consultation would be, how would you clinically assess the patient, the challenges of clinical assessment or clinical stage and state of the disease?
The stage of disease was on the basis of subjective complaints, because as distance is the one of the biggest problem. Another thing, the chances of exposure to infection, and that is why the concept of telecommunication has been brought up. So out of that advantage, and see, as telephonic conversations are available, the assessment, if you remember what I had said, I was more anxious, and I was regularly following with the patient because they are known to me. All of the patients are regular patients who had presented with these problems, whether they are staying nearby, whether they are staying apart from more than 40 or 50 kilometers. So the basic thing was, what is the subjective status right now? On that basis only it has been prescribed.
Definitely, yes. That's a very important pointer. How the patient talks, or what is he complaining, and how is he presenting, at least on the phone. That will give you some idea about. So all the cases were purely managed by homeopathy, and there was no other intervention, right?
Nothing. Because see, now the trend that we are observing in COVID positive cases is that unless and until there are symptoms, means if there is fever, they only advise to take paracetamol. And the common thing is of multivitamins or plain vitamin C. Apart from that, they don't prescribe anything. So that is the trend. If you are having symptoms, whether it is throat pain or other symptoms are there, they will go on for managing it. And see, the positive case himself is the BHMS. he is a Ayush practitioner, but he is a general practitioner at his village. So he had faith and he was not having any symptom. And see, most of the things are available on net, it is available on WhatsApp. So a person who is having a disposition which is more type of we can say that he is more of a what we can say it like a strong constitution, a robust person, so even his diabetes is also under control. So I think such kind of things are beneficial in terms of understanding the clinical state of these patients and what kind of interventions they might take, probably if the case, if they are feeling that it is not possible to treat with homeopathy, or they should go for allopathic intervention.
Yogesh.
Sir.
Yeah, sorry, Bhavik. Yogesh, you have prescribed different remedies in COVID.
Yeah.
So can you briefly, in a minute, tell us that what were the indications of those different medicines briefly, because we are running short of time.
Definitely. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. So again, if you remember the first objective slide, again there is a PDF related to the Ayush guidelines, that which remedies you should prescribe, because these are the commonly seen, and I had just picked up few indications. On that basis I had prescribed. If you refer the, I would request all the participants to refer that.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you. So that will guide them. Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah, Bhavik, conclude.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Yogesh, Dr. Bipin sir, for your Dr. Yogesh for a great presentation. We have completed in proper time. What is important take home is how you have demonstrated the integration of Organon Mater Emetica repertory along with clinico-pathological understanding and miasmatic correlations, and also how to clinically approach these cases. So according to me, it will require a very, very precise thinking process in not only in case taking but also in perceiving the totality. So that was very well demonstrated, and also the readiness to attend to the patient anytime, because that will be one of the drawbacks that will come with online consult. The patient can call you anytime, or they can call. So this readiness we have to be prepared for. Your emotion and your sentiment for the institute were very well palpable when coming back to your alma mater after such a long time. So thank you, Dr. Yogesh. We look forward to many more such interactions and presentations from you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.